All right. So, being a financial stock and equity exchange salesperson isn't exactly how the Wolf of Wall Street would make it appear to be, surprisingly, as that may sound. But it actually involved a lot of data analysis and being able to understand important details and pay attention to a detail, really. Everyone in some way has been affected by an equity salesperson, whether they realize it or not. This could be something as simple as purchasing stock directly from a salesperson or equity from a salesperson, or it could be something related to like a family member using one, or maybe working for a company that isn't a private company but is a public company and does exchanges. The purchasing and selling of company equities and fixed incomes it's significantly changed over the years, and this is forcing salespeople and the companies they're associated with to adapt and change with demand and changes in technology and regulation, etc. So in this speech, I'm going to discuss the impact of increases in technology on the industry itself, the importance of equity on the everyday salesperson and everyday person in general, and lastly, the everyday basis of an equity salesperson. So, to the changes. Changes have drastically changed equities over the years. Most of you, when you imagine an equity salesperson, you'll imagine Wolf of Wall Street. That's not at all the case, unless the New York Stock Exchange is about the only place that actually utilizes the bullpen type of dynamic. But any small company like the one I'm talking about today, salesperson, equity salesperson, they don't operate that direction. They use a lot of group work, data analysis, and they offer a group dynamic because it's better to have more minds on something, get a better view of it, and that way it's easier to figure out which companies to invest your time with and money into. But the changes in technology, however, are on both spectrums. Technology changes allowed for quicker transformation of information. That used to be a big issue. Now it's not. But the big change in technology was the quicker allocation of resources, quicker transactions to show companies and allow them to have faster liquidation, be able to use money from investments, but also allow the investor returns on their exchanges, returns on their investments much quicker. But now that we understand the equities and how they're sold, you must wonder like what the true importance of it is, and there's a vast importance of equity salespeople and corporations. This a lot of people think that corporations' worth is solely off of their profit for that quarter or that period, and that's simply not the case. Companies rely heavily on equities and their exchanges that provide them the money to perform their day-to-day operations. This excuse me, this in return will decrease their ownership of their own company, but it would also increase that of the individual who has invested their money and time into it, so they'll become a part owner. This hopefully creates a future income for the investor and the company itself. It's a good exchange on money, and both people benefit from it, both sides at least. After understanding the effects and sales of it, the individual economy, what's the day-to-day life of an equity salesperson? Well, they have a lot of responsibilities, but it's often they handle their day-to-day lives like a normal salesperson would, any salesperson. If you think about it, have you ever given any thought to those sales calls? Who calls those corporations on those sales calls? That would be us. That would be my job as salesperson. Many equity salespeople live basic office life. They make decisions. They make phone calls. They sell things over the internet. There's some cases where actually it involves personal presentation, where you have to convince an individual or a company to invest into your company. And by doing that, you have to put in some group work, put in some presentation work, be able to vocalize, speak, definitely be able to present whatever you're trying to, and do it confidently. But on a more broad note, the job outlook for this, it's actually fairly good. It is increasing at a 10% higher rate than the annual increase, and it also has a starting salary of $75,000, which would be like $34 an hour if you were having to work at a job to be paid hourly. But I hope that this has allowed you all to understand the importance of an equity salesperson, understand a little bit of what they do, how they do it, and maybe one day you might want to join this job market and maybe be a part of something like this to help companies benefit in the business aspect. Thank you.